Crookston area, about 20 miles straight east of Grand Forks, North Dakota. Our farm is only located about 2.5 miles from the University of Minnesota, and that's how I met Andrew. I'm sure I'm a farmer. I'm just like you, but I've been a user of technology my whole life. Today I want to talk about, I want to take a step back. I'm really, really impressed with your group, with what you guys are doing here. I wish we had that in my area. But I'm kind of alone by myself with this technology sometimes. And really what I'd like to do is talk about what's going on. Now you'll see the slide at the very bottom. It kind of gives me a timeline. And really I started working with this technology back in 1976. Back then, that's when the first PC started coming out. And I just got married in 1976. I'm going to tell you a little story about computers and wives. Back then, there wasn't much software. So what I had to do was I had to learn how to start programming. So I'm a self-taught programmer. But it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. We've been married for like 4 months. And my wife comes storming down to my office. Good thing that computer can't do one thing, I'd be replaced. I got out of my chair and gave her a big hug, and I go, "Dear, you'll always have better software." Today we have a small group here. I really would like you to ask questions as I'm going through my presentation. How many farmers do we have in the group here? Well, not many that could have the weather is bad. Okay. So I'm going to be talking to you. I may be stepping on a few toes, so I hope I'm coming from a farmer's perspective, and I hope you understand what I'm saying. There's 3 principles. Like I said, I'm going back to the very basics of how we collect data, because everybody talks about quality data, but no one teaches you how to do it. But there's 3 principles about understanding yield maps. There's irregular shapes, there is straight lines, and then there's streaks. You understand these 3 principles, you can diagnose any yield map, any remote sensing image, anything you collect by looking at the map themselves, so you know where to start looking for and doing this kind of stuff. So irregular shapes is telling you it's natural occurring. It's something Mother Nature did. When you see straight lines, it's telling you management's doing something for you. You did something yourself. Different fertilizer rate, different fungicide. When you see straight lines in the map, it's telling you another thing. Finally, streaks is telling you it's the equipment problems. You understand those 3 principles, we can go a long ways with diagnosing yield maps. This is the very first yield map I collected in 1993. Ted Macy was a programmer. He was still programming between the GPS receiver and the ag meter yield monitor at that time. He wanted to sell it in the fall of 1993. And he needed some wheat farmers to work with, and we were one of the lucky ones. This yield map confused the heck out of me. This is one of our higher producing fields. Right there in that corner is a low yielding area we never expected. But then we never had the tool before too. But also, what's that telling you? It's telling us Mother Nature did that, right? But also there's a straight line that goes through there. And what we thought, every time a farmer gets a yield map, he starts thinking about, I'm going to analyze that field right away. And that straight line, what happened that spring is that we started tilling that field on one day. That was too wet, we quit. And then the next day was a nice warm day. The next day we tilled the rest of the ground and planted it. What's our first interpretation? Our first interpretation was it was soil compaction. But when you look at a yield map, it's the most complicated piece of information you could ever collect. It tells you a little about everything you did that summer. The varieties, the fertility, everything you did, all rolled up into one piece of information. It's a lot like the game of Jeopardy. That gave you the answer. Now what happened in that field? Well, it took us a number of years. In 1995, Eric Lund was coming through the area. He had a new machine called the Veriscar and doing electroconductivity. We were able to hook up with him. He did this field for us. And look what happened here. There's the yield map in 1993. There is electroconductivity saying it's something different. Electroconductivity is a good pattern detector. There's something different there. And that matched up really, really nice. But it didn't also match up. How come I didn't have a lower yielding area with those other red spots? So it told us a little bit. Soils had something to do with our problem. In 1966, my father did an order one soil survey on our farm. And right in that spot right there, it tells us that green area is an underlying sand. But why did the low yielding area go all the way down? So what I did, at that time, there wasn't very good tools that time. I took a laser mask, and every 50 feet I rose that thing up and down, and I did points on that 80, because I knew our topography had something to do with it. And look, a little peak right there, and then later I had better tools, and I had better topography maps. All of a sudden, it had something to do with elevation, it had something to do with topography, it had something to do with soils. But here's what really confused me. I was told when we first had a yield map, you should have like 3 years of data to really analyze the field before you can make a decision. Well, there's 1993, there's 1994, 1995, that area that was low yield. Totally reversed in the following year. How do you anticipate? Moisture is a big driver. So there's 3 things I've learned now. Moisture. In 1997, we started taking aerial pictures of our farm. And one thing I was looking for is okay, do we have wet areas that we need to do better drainage in the field? And we were picking those up on here. This was about 4 or 5 days after a heavy rain event. And I was looking, look, here's that corner of land that we had that problem. You see something different in that image? You see something in that corner that's a little bit different? What I did, I had simple tools at that time. I just took a color program, a paint program, and I started coloring, and all of a sudden, that pattern showed up again, 1997. And when we went out there and did some ground truthing on it, we lost all the tillers of wheat there. What's that telling you? Drought. And if I take that map and lay it on top of it, it matched up extremely nice. So what did we learn? We had to have a lot of different information before we make decisions on our fields. 1 year's of data won't do it. We have to collect other layers of information. Now, here's one big issue. You see, this is the exact same map. Does anybody ever have maps where you have some issues in the field itself? What I'm saying is here, what is this? I put 2 different colors on there, but sometimes you can see the pattern of different color tables. What do you see right here? It's a different yield, correct? And it's what? Straight line. Man. Now, it was really funny. A number of years ago, hang online, did you ever monitor that? I monitor a lot. I don't post a lot of things. There was a farmer from Illinois that came on and said, I have a yield monitor. When I harvest my field, it gets late at night. When I turn the lights on the combine, yield drops by 10 to 15%. It was kind of funny, some people responding to this. So maybe, first of all, the first guy said, well, maybe an electrical problem with the combine. The second guy said, nah, you can't combine after dark because you throw all your beans out the back end. And the guy goes back and said, well, I'm not losing any beans. But why am I losing 10%? Because then the next day, when I start back up, the yield is perfect, just like it used to be. That's exactly what's happening here. We were combining, and you start seeing the colors got a little bit darker blue. We got to the point where we were down about 1.5 miles. We said, the heck with it, we only had a couple rounds left. And then the next day we started back up and the yield came back where it was. What's the problem? Anybody know? Why do you have a yield map? Anybody have a yield map like that? I get them all the time. I did this back in '94. Okay. Let's first go understand how the yield monitor works. There's a mass flow sensor, and the combine starts up. And you start getting some rain there. What happens is, as the mass flow sensor gets pressure against it, this electrical current is actually putting pressure on that, and that's how you create yield. We have this thing called a calibration curve. All combines have that. So the more pressure goes against that,
that equates to a yield. And more pressure yet equates to more yield. So it's very, very important that this calibration curve is done correctly. How many of you calibrate for accuracy? Okay, we all do it, right? Okay. What if I told you it's absolutely the wrong way to calibrate it? Oh, nuts. When you calibrate a yield monitor, what you should do, you should have a pad of paper with you. You should be able to write this stuff down, put your date, put your crop on your combine. Now this is a John Deere S-Series screen. Egg unit works the same way, a case works virtually the same way. But one way you have to add it does a calibration load, you enter the load in, and then you do another one. You enter that load in, you do another one. You push the calibration curves. Hopefully, what the heck happened? There's a 2.3% error in that one. Well, you do one more. Say, okay, well, I'm going to get rid of that one. And now I'm perfectly calibrated. I'll make it do that. Okay? I just put one more. But this is the most common way farmers calibrate the yield monitor. It is absolutely the wrong way to do it. Even for those who have the older John Deere combines that has a near leader, what you're supposed to do is read their calibration. A lot of farmers will do 1 or 2 loads, and they're within 50 pounds. Yield monitors calibrated the way I go. Now there's other calibrations I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on. This is zero flow calibrations, where you're supposed to sit there for X amount of time, let the combine shake a little bit, do a calibration on that, moisture calibration and stuff. All those things are pretty straightforward what we have to do. Here's the issue. If I'm going to explain this, on the graph up here is your grain flow. This is the electrical signal, and here's where we calibrated our 4 loads for accuracy. And then the calibration curve is generated by the computer the best. Now, Ag talks about the C values, these blue dots that are C value. They believe they're going through the combine at different rates, at different yields within the combine itself. But you calibrate that, but you calibrate it right there in the middle, right? Maybe it was 4 miles an hour. And the near linear, you did your 1 load. Here's where your accuracy lies. Right in that area that you calibrate. What happens when you go slower? At night. Turn the lights on. The combine goes slower, you're not calibrated right where that happens. Your yield can drop as much as 20%. What happens at the end of the season? When you're going, instead of 4 miles an hour, your vines are a little bit riper, a little bit drier, you're going 5, 5.5. What happens then? Here's examples. Again, here's an example of that one field. When you slow down at night, you'll get this issue where you have different yields, drops off. Next one, so it does drop by 10 to 15%. Now that one's a little bit tougher to see. You see there's something in the middle of that field a little bit different? What is it, first of all? It's a straight line, correct? Now that could be variety, that could be tillage practices, that could be a whole number of things. I proved to myself, I'm not going to show you, but I queried out all the data points. But right through there, and I'm going to make a point, is the entrance to that field is right there in that crossing. And what I did is I combined up to the back of that yard. I started about 10 o'clock at night and finished about 1 or 2 o'clock. And then the next day I did the rest of the field. Okay. Yield was reduced in that area. I was going less than 4 miles an hour. I had done the low end calibration curve. See what happens right there? The low end is not calibrated right. This is the errors we get within our yield model. If we want quality data, if we're going to be giving this to co-ops and to Farm Mobile and all the other companies, we need to have accurate data, but we need to do it right. Okay, here's another example, calibrated for accuracy. At the end of the season, I'm going faster. I have 2 combines in that field. It wasn't the best yielding field. It was after sugar beets, a very dry year. The field went about, according to the yield model, about 37 bushels per acre. But that particular field, we hauled all down, and actually we only got 33 gross bushels. What happened? We didn't do the high end of the calibration, and we were yield model was overestimating the yield, not underestimating, overestimating. And the same thing with the ag unit, same point. When you run multiple combines in the field, have you ever got yield maps of streak? Combine 1 and combine 2. If you don't calibrate them right, you have probably two slightly different calibration curves. Same thing with the near linear. So one combine just a little bit different than the other one, so you don't get good quality. I hear that all the time when I travel around. Crop consultants say farmers' data is lousy because they don't take time to calibrate the yield on there. How many people have post-calibrated data? Okay. I hope you don't take offense, but I don't believe in post-calibrated data because here's the example. Here's the field that I had a problem with. That area right in the middle, I know it was wrongly calibrated. I post-calibrated that field. It was, my yield model said 2,000 pounds, and they actually hauled in 2,400. I post-calibrated that field. Does the error go away? The yield data is correct, but the yield map has serious errors. And when I interpreted it,